Everybody knows the cost of goods are going up, and right now we've got the highest rates of inflation for 40 years. It's massive, it has a massive effect, but there is a solution, so let me explain. First of all, what's the problem? Well, inflation causes more inflation. Why? When the cost of goods are going up, companies have to raise their prices. People that are employed, they demand more in wages, so inflation begets more inflation. So if you think about it, it's a vicious circle that has to be stopped. You can't just have wages constantly going up, the price of goods constantly going up, because people make sure that they don't save money, and that of course causes an even bigger problem in retirement. Of course, people in retirement, they're affected too, because if you've provided for a pension, you've saved your money perhaps all your life, you've accumulated your capital, and you feel like you've got enough money for retirement, and all of a sudden inflation comes along. It's over 8% in America, 8.5, it's 6% in the UK, but globally it's at least 7%, and perhaps some of these figures are wrong. It means the cost of goods are going up double every 10 years. So you see, if you've retired and perhaps you've got 20 years to go, you just may not have enough money to retire. So governments have to do something about it. Individuals have to do something about it. So what's the solution? Well, one solution is to squeeze the economy. Okay, that's not great, but it is a solution. In other words, you put interest rates up. That, of course, causes companies to reduce their expenditure because they can't borrow as much money. Credit card costs go up, so people spend less money. And then, of course, there's this squeeze, and the squeeze causes inflation to fall. But if you squeeze too hard, you get a recession. Likely recession in the UK, likely recession in Europe, probable recession in America. In other words, what does that mean? It means that you've got a reduction in the GDP of the country for 2 consecutive quarters, the turnover of the country, and that's because they have to squeeze the economy. Will it happen? Probably, because it's the only way to get inflation out of the system. But then just think about it as the rules of life. In other words, nature. If you look at nature, then you have to prune every now and again. Same thing actually has to happen in the economy. You can't just grow. Every now and again, it needs this cutbacks. It needs people to realize you can't just grow 100 miles an hour. Every now and again, you get a cycle, and that cycle occurs and people have to cut back. We're hitting it right now. 6 months' time, we're going to see a bigger effect. So people invest in money, need to make sure they're diversified, because some stock will go up, some commodities will definitely go up. And of course, while the squeeze goes on, you don't want the money to be sat in a bank account and you to be losing money. You want it to be invested, and you want it to be making sure that it's growing, but you need to be in the right areas, because certain companies have been more affected by inflation than others. So solution, invest, squeeze the economy. Is there other solutions? Yes, innovation. In other words, if there's more tech that actually makes the world more effective and be able to produce things more effectively, then that again can actually reduce the costs of goods. That can actually make sure that we end up in a world where inflation becomes lower. Could also do with China. China is part of the solution, because don't forget, China has actually over the last 20 years helped us to keep inflation low. Why? Because it's been producing goods en masse inexpensively. Okay, right now they're locked down with COVID. We've got these shortages where we've got supply chain problems. We've got the issue with Ukraine and Russia. We need some of those things to be solved. Solve those problems, world moves on again. Is there going to be this short period or a longer period where you hit a recession? I'd actually say yes, there is, but it's going to be a short period, because we'll be able to get through it and come through. So right now, need to plan for it, need to make sure you're aware of it. We've got high inflation, we know what the causes are, we know what needs to be done. Okay, if the videos of use to you, please make sure you like it, okay, share, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll explain to you what's going on in the financial world and what it takes to be successful in life.